Have you ever been that smart kid in high school,
Hmm.
maybe cruising through classes, top 10%? Felt pretty good, right?
Yeah, like you've got it all figured out.
Exactly. And then, bam, you hit college.
Yeah.
And it's like you've landed on another planet.
Hmm.
Suddenly, the lectures just don't click.
Yeah.
You see classmates easily debating stuff with professors, and you're just trying to figure out what question to even ask.
Right.
And that first exam, oof, abysmal. We're talking like a shocking 38% in your major.
Wow.
That feeling, that disorientation, the self-doubt,
Yeah.
it's a wall. A wall a lot of really successful high school grads run right into. So today, we're doing a deep dive into this powerful idea that just, working harder isn't always the answer.
Right. Sometimes it's not enough.
Instead, the real game changer, the big shift, is learning how to work smarter.
Exactly. And our mission for you today is really to unpack a set of strategies that are, well, they're just incredibly sensible and they're universal.
Universal how?
Well, they're not just for getting through college, though they definitely help there. These are insights you can genuinely use throughout your whole life.
Okay.
And what's really cool here is that our sources for this, they come from someone who actually experienced that exact wall firsthand.
Ah, so they lived it.
They lived it. And then through, sheer grit and some really smart thinking, they figured out how to shift gears meticulously.
That makes it really relatable.
Yeah.
So tell us about this author's journey.
Well, like we said, top 10% high school grad, got all the praise, smart kid, and he believed it, thought he was on this glide path. Then college hits, confusion in class, struggling to even form a question while others chatted easily with the profs, and that 38% on the first major exam, just a total shock to the system.
I can imagine.
And what's really insightful, like you said, is that his experience, it wasn't unique. So many high achievers from high school hit that same wall.
It's surprisingly common.
Yeah. And, his background, he came from a middle-class African-American family. Neither parent had a college degree. Okay.
But his dad really, really believed in education. Apparently taught him to say MIT when he was just 3 years old.
Wow. Planting the seed early?
Totally.
Yeah.
And his older brother actually did graduate from MIT. So the family value for education was strong, definitely there.
Yeah.
But the personal struggle in college, that was still very, very real for him.
That's important. The support helps, but you still have to navigate it yourself.
Right. And here's something crucial from the sources, something often overlooked. Those college entrance scores we obsess over,
Yeah.
they're actually a pretty poor predictor of whether someone will even finish their degree.
Really? That's surprising.
Yeah. Barely more than half of all college students get a 4-year degree within 6 years. 6. And almost a third, 28%, don't even come back after the first year.
28%. That's huge.
It is. And the odds are even tougher for males and people of color.
Yeah.
So think about that. When someone just says, oh, just study harder, what's missing there?
Well, that's the critical point, isn't it? Because that is the common advice. Just work harder, put in more hours.
The default, yeah.
But our sources point out something fascinating. Average study hours outside of class, they've actually gone down a lot over the last 50 years or so.
Gone down. How much?
From about 24 hours a week down to just 15.
15. Wow.
Yeah. So it's clearly not just about logging more time. And get this, only about half of college students polled recently felt they had actually developed effective study habits.
Only half.
Right. So the problem isn't just working longer. It's fundamentally about learning how to work smarter. That's the missing piece.
So for the author, when did that light bulb go off? When did he realize harder wasn't enough? That moment, that real punch-in-the-gut moment, came with his physical chemistry professor, August Witt. Sounded pretty intimidating. After hearing about that 38% exam grade, Professor Witt apparently got nose-to-nose with him.
Whoa.
And just declared very sternly, young man, if you don't start to work harder in this class, you will fail.
Ouch, that's direct.
Yeah. He said it was actually more painful than the grade itself. But that confrontation, that directness, that was a catalyst. That's what started the change.
And that's such a key moment. It really highlights something universal, doesn't it? About finding those guys, those mentors. The author calls them Clarences.
Right, Clarence.
So people who see your potential, maybe even when you don't see it yourself. And they aren't afraid to give you that tough feedback, that push you need to shift gears.
Absolutely. So from that whole intense experience, he eventually figured out these 3 core strategies. Shifts, he calls them.
Shifts, yeah.
The attitude shift, the connection shift, and the behavior shift. And importantly, He says you really need to master the first two attitude and connections before the third one, the behavior shift, really sticks.
That makes sense. You need the right mindset and the right support system before the new habits can truly take root.
Exactly. You need that foundation first, otherwise the actions might not last.
Okay, so we understand the backstory, that punch in the gut moment. Let's dig into that first strategy, the attitude shift. Because, like you said, before changing what you do, you often need to change how you see yourself, right?
Precisely. College, as the author puts it, fundamentally challenges your sense of smartness.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you were the high school star, valedictorian, whatever, or if you barely scraped by. College can totally flip the script. Suddenly you're wondering, is everyone else smarter? Did I miss the memo? Did I join a class already in progress? That kind of feeling.
That self-doubt creeps in hard.
It's foundational. And the sources highlight two really dangerous ways people respond to that doubt.
Yeah.
The first is developing an inferiority complex.
Okay.
Students start feeling genuinely less capable, especially next to peers who maybe came from fancier high schools or seemed wealthier, more prepared.
Right.
The author even talks about his own freshman roommate. Seems like he was just gliding along, effortless.
But turns out that roommate was also battling his own inferiority complex when the material got tough and challenged his sense of being smart. The key difference wasn't the feeling itself. It was how they each responded to it.
The response. What's the second danger?
The second one is almost the opposite. It's this kind of inflated self-assessment, a bubble of overconfidence.
Oh, okay. Thinking you're better than you are.
Exactly. Students who overestimate their abilities and don't make realistic appraisals of where they actually stand. And interestingly, this isn't just a student thing.
No.
Our sources mention big companies like Digital Equipment Corporation, DEC, and Kodak.
Oh, yeah, I remember DEC.
Right. Both were huge leaders in their day, but they failed to adapt to changing markets, partly because of this sort of ingrained self-delusion, thinking their old ways were still the best ways.
Wow. So corporate delusion, too.
It's a similar pattern, like an advisee the author mentions, came from a background of privilege, but really struggled in college until he finally, quote, humbled himself and admitted he needed to change his approach.
Okay, so confronting the self-doubt is step one. But that's tough. How do you actually shift that internal story when you're feeling totally overwhelmed or, just not good enough?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And that's where the work of Carol Dweck on mindset becomes so incredibly relevant.
Mindset. Heard of that.
Yeah.
Fixed versus growth?
Exactly. Dweck argues there are basically two fundamental ways people view their intelligence, and that view shapes everything. First, the fixed mindset.
Okay.
People with a fixed mindset believe intelligence is static. It's something you have or you don't. It's unchangeable.
So effort is bad.
In a way, yeah. Effort feels like a threat. If you're truly smart, it should be easy, right? So struggling means you must not be smart.
Ow.
And fixed mindset folks are more vulnerable to stereotypes. The Gleck did the study with college women in math. The stereotype threat literally invaded them, took away their comfort and confidence. They really shy away from challenges.
That makes so much sense. If effort threatens your identity as smart, you'd avoid anything difficult. But how does someone who was the smart kid make that leap? Especially after a grade like 38%. It can't be instant.
Oh, absolutely not. It's a process. It's a journey. That's where the other mindset comes in, the growth mindset.
Right. The idea that you can grow.
Exactly. Intelligence isn't fixed. It's expandable. Challenges aren't threats. They're opportunities to learn and get smarter.
Okay.
People with a growth mindset, they stick with hard problems longer. They bounce back better from setbacks. They feel less anxiety about tests. Dweck puts it beautifully. The passion for stretching yourself and sticking to it, even or especially when it's not going well, is the hallmark of the growth mindset.
I like that. Passion for stretching yourself.
And the author's own story is a perfect example. That 38%, it stopped being an indictment, a judgment on his worth. It became data.
Data.
Just
Good.
information. He talks about a workshop by a Dr. Howard that challenged his defensive pessimism.
Defensive pessimism. What's that?
It's fascinating. It's that subtle thing we do where we set lower expectations for ourselves, not because we actually think we'll fail, but almost to protect ourselves from disappointment if we aim high and miss.
Playing it safe subconscious.
Exactly. He realized he was doing that. The workshop pushed him. He decided to run for national chair of a student organization instead of the safer vice chair role he was considering.
Yeah.
He won. And that whole experience, aiming higher, achieving it, it fundamentally shaped his career path.
Yeah.
All starting from that shift in attitude.
Wow. And there's actual brain science behind this, right? About new connections.
Yes. This is the really cool part. When you push yourself, tackle new, challenging tasks, you are literally stimulating new neural connections in your brain. You're building new pathways.
So how does that help practically?
Think about learning to type or drive a car. At first, it's awkward, slow, takes intense concentration, right? But with practice, repetition, those neural pathways get stronger, more efficient, like building superhighways in your brain. Eventually, the action becomes almost automatic, natural.
Okay.
That's what the author was doing when he spent hours working through difficult problems. He wasn't just memorizing, he was physically building the capacity in his brain to solve those kinds of problems faster, more intuitively. Developing a problem-solving rhythm, he calls it.
Building brain muscle.
Essentially, yes.
No.
So the core takeaway, the mantra for this attitude shift is powerful. You are smart and you can become smarter.
I like that addition.
Yeah, and embracing that idea, I'm not good at it yet.
Yet. That's the key word.
It shifts everything from a dead end to a possibility.
Okay, attitude shift? Check. Now let's pivot. Second deep dive, the connection shift. Building that support network.
Right, because the author realized just showing up to class, doing the work alone, it wasn't cutting it.
He needed people.
He needed people. He talks about two kinds of integration. Vertical integration, connecting with faculty and administrators, and horizontal integration, connecting with your peers.
Okay, let's start vertical. Faculty. He mentioned a calculus professor, Dr. Schifrin. Okay, great story. This professor saw something in him, pulled him aside, affirmed his potential, even suggested he think about majoring in math.
Wow.
And that belief, that validation from the professor, it made it a class where the author felt like he could do no wrong. It just shows the incredible power of a positive faculty relationship.
Absolutely. So how do you make those connections, especially if you're feeling intimidated? Great question. The sources give some really practical, actionable advice. First, visit early, visit often.
Early, like first week.
Ideally, yeah. Go to office hours within the first 2 weeks. Why? Because it's the lowest stress time for both you and the professor. Fewer students are usually there.
Makes sense. What do you ask?
Ask things like, how can I really get the most out of this class? Or what does A-level work look like to you? Show you're engaged from the start. The author even suggests maybe visiting weekly, just briefly.
Weekly, okay.
Yeah.
What if you're shy?
Brilliant tip for that. Go with a friend.
Moral support.
Exactly. 2 are better than 1. It just lowers the barrier, makes it less daunting. Another tactic, use board time.
Board time.
You know, those few minutes right before or after class when the prof might be erasing the board or gathering their things.
Yeah.
Use that for a quick, clarifying question. Professor, could you just explain that one step again? It helps you, builds rapport, and honestly might help others who had the same question.
Smart. Quick hits.
Quick hits. And critically, never miss exam reviews. Whether it's the professor or a TA leading it, just being there shows you're motivated, you care, leaves a good impression.
Okay. And research.
Yes. Seek research opportunities. Don't be discouraged if you get a no the first time. The sources say it takes, on average, about 3 requests before a student lands a research spot. So persistence is key.
Persistence. Got it. Okay,
Right.
so that's faculty. What about the other part of vertical administrators? That sounds even more intimidating.
Yeah, the author really leaned on people like his freshman advisor, Dr. Clarence Williams. Those Clarences, people who advocated for him, helped him navigate the system, connected him to resources, even just reminded him he belonged there when things got tough.
Those people are gold. So how do you find them? How do you connect with, like, the dean or someone in financial aid?
Yeah.
It feels like this big bureaucracy sometimes. It can definitely feel that way. But these folks are often the unsung heroes of student success. One surprising tip from the sources: meet your president.
The university president. Seriously. Seriously. Apparently, presidents often miss that regular student interaction they used to have. They actually relish chances to connect, share their vision, do a little research on them first, go in with smart questions, show genuine interest. It can be a surprisingly powerful connection.
Never would have thought of that.
Also, the practical stuff. Financial aid and career services. Visit them early. Don't wait until there's a crisis. Understand your aid package fully. And career services. They help you begin with the end in mind.
Right. Knowing the goal.
Exactly. Seeing the light at the end of the tunnel can be huge motivation during tough semesters. And don't forget tutoring and writing centers. Connect before you desperately need them. Build a relationship. Hey, you might even get a job there later.
Good point.
And most importantly, actively seek out mentors. Plural. The sources really stress having more than one. Different people offer different perspectives, different kinds of support. It's proven to reduce dropout rates and boost self-confidence significantly.
Multiple mentors.
Oh, okay.
Now, let's shift to the horizontal. Peer connections, study groups. You mentioned the author's view changed. Many of us have had bad study group experiences, right?
Oh, definitely. The kind where one person does all the work, or it just turns into a social hour, or you're just copying answers.
Yeah, exactly. Not helpful.
But the sources highlight some incredible examples of how powerful peer connections can be, like The Pact.
Tell me about the pact.
It's an amazing story. 3 young men grew up together in Newark, New Jersey. Rough circumstances. They made a pact, a promise to each other that they would all become doctors.
Wow.
And they did. They supported each other through undergrad, medical school, dental school, faced immense challenges, but they pulled each other through. It just shows some goals are almost too big to tackle alone.
That's incredible. What made their pact work?
Several key things. A common goal, obviously. Shared values. They used positive peer pressure and healthy competition. They were brutally honest with each other, held each other accountable, and crucially, they taught each other the material.
Teaching each other. That reinforces your own learning.
Massively. You see that kind of shared commitment, that grit, not just in academics. Entrepreneurs do it, athletes. There's this collective energy when you're all pulling in the same direction.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes the burden feel shared somehow. Less individual pressure, more collective lift. Changes the whole feel of hard work.
Exactly.
The author also mentioned a mistake he made, only joining groups where he felt, quote, identity safe, like the Black Student Union, his living group. He said while those were good for identity, it gave him a low-def experience of the wider campus.
That's a really insightful point. It drives home the importance of deliberately expanding your social circle, getting outside your comfort zone.
So mixing with different groups?
Yes, different racial groups, genders, religions, backgrounds. Research consistently shows that connecting across these differences, it challenges your own unconscious biases, it leads to greater intellectual growth, and it directly stimulates that growth mindset we talked about. Connects back to attitude. It all connects. The recommendation. Actively try to expand your circle each year, maybe even each semester. Be intentional about it.
Okay, so back to study groups specifically. The author initially found them useless, right? Copying answers, wasting time.
Right. He saw friends doing it. He even cites research by Yuri Treisman on African-American calculus students at Berkeley. Treisman found their study groups often avoided academic talk altogether or just focused on surface stuff. Then they were shocked by their grades.
So what turned it around? Treisman did something different.
Yes. He created these mathematics workshops, structured smaller groups focused on deep understanding and setting high expectations. The results were stunning.
How stunning.
4 times more Ohms. Black students who participated in these workshops graduated with math-based majors compared to those who didn't.
4 times. Wow. So what was the secret sauce there? What makes a study group actually work?
It reveals the huge difference between just getting together and effectively working together. The sources lay out some clear best practices.
Okay, let's hear them.
First, not remedial. Effective study groups aren't just for catching up. They're for students aiming for excellence, for shared mastery.
Got it. Aiming high.
Second, set a day and time. Be consistent. Meet maybe 2 or 3 days before an assignment is due, and keep it focused, like 90 minutes max. No endless rambling sessions.
Structure.
Third, limit size. This is crucial. No more than 4 or 5 people.
Why so small?
Because any larger, and it's too easy for people to hide, to check out, to just copy answers like the author did initially. Smaller groups force engagement and accountability.
Makes sense. What else?
Everyone accountable. Everyone comes prepared. If someone consistently doesn't pull their weight, the group needs to address it. Ask them to leave or recommit. It sounds harsh, but the group's integrity depends on it.
Right. Mutual responsibility.
Also, be honest and open. If you didn't prepare for the session, just say so. Builds trust and rotate leaders. Share the job of keeping the group on track. Builds leadership skills, too.
Okay. This sounds much more productive.
And the most crucial piece, the model they recommend. Work alone, work together, then work alone.
Explain that.
It means you prepare individually first, do the reading, attempt the problems yourself, then you come together to discuss, clarify, debate, teach each other, then you go back and finish the assignment alone.
So the group helps understand, but you solidify it yourself.
Exactly. It ensures real learning, true mastery, not just groupthink or copying. That's the difference maker.
Okay, so that brings us to the third shift, the behavior shift.
Yeah.
And just to recap that core distinction, individual study is for the first learning. getting the basic facts down.
Right, acquiring the knowledge.
And in study groups are for reinforcing, mastering, building on that individual work.
Precisely. So now let's get into the specific behaviors for working smarter. What do you actually do? First up, set SMART goals.
Smart, specific, measurable.
Attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Yep. Goals are essential for motivation. You need something to aim for. Like, I will achieve a 3.4 GPA this semester. Clear, measurable.
Right. But lots of people set goals and then nothing happens.
Oh, exactly. And that's where the author adds a crucial step often missed. Share and revisit your goals.
Share them. With who?
With a mentor, a friend, your study group maybe. Sharing creates accountability. And revisiting them regularly, weekly, monthly, keeps them alive. It's like training for a marathon. You constantly check your progress, adjust your plan. It turns a static goal into a dynamic process.
Okay, accountability and revisiting.
Yeah.
Got it. What's next?
Next is fundamental. Prioritize basic needs. First things first, as Stephen Covey put it.
Covey's big rocks.
Exactly. To live, to love, to learn, to leave a legacy. And that to live part your health is the absolute foundation.
Sleep, diet, exercise, the stuff that's easy to let slide.
So easy. But the sources hammer this home. There's a direct link between how you treat your body and your mental capacity. Aim for 7 through 8 hours of sleep. That's non-negotiable for memory consolidation. Your brain needs that time to process and store what you learned.
Memory consolidation happens during sleep.
Right. Exercise, great for stress relief, helps you focus. And diet-balanced meals, protein, vegetables. Avoid that sugary, carb-heavy stuff that makes you feel loopy, as the author says. And caffeine. He admits he didn't even start coffee until junior year, then couldn't stop. Moderation is key. These aren't luxuries. They're essential tools for learning.
Okay, basic needs is the foundation. Makes sense. But it feels counterintuitive sometimes, right? Sleep versus studying for a big exam tomorrow.
It does feel that way. But sacrificing sleep often undermines the very studying you did.
Good point. Okay, let's talk about managing time. Harnessing time. How do you approach that? The sources break it down into levels. First, by the semester. Get a calendar, map out everything, all the exams, paper deadlines, project due dates.
See the whole battlefield.
Exactly. Identify those crunch weeks way in advance so you can plan for them, maybe get ahead on readings. Also, really understand the course learning objectives. What's the big picture? Get that from the syllabus or ask the professor. This primes your brain.
Primes it how?
It helps you know what to listen for in lectures. You start connecting the dots faster, leading to more of those aha moments because you have the framework.
Okay, semester view primes the brain. What about weekly?
By the week, schedule those first things first. Sleep, exercise, maybe meals. Then plug in all your deadlines, your class times, your study group meetings. Create a daily to-do list, but break big tasks down.
Break them down how?
Like a 5-page paper isn't just write paper. It's find sources, 2 hours. Create outline, 1 hour. Draft intra-body paragraph 1, 2 hours, etc. Manageable chunks. And schedule those weekly check-ins with profs or TAs.
Makes it less overwhelming.
Way less. And then, by the day. Simple habit. Spend just 5-10 minutes each evening planning the next day. What are the top 1-3 things you need to accomplish? It sets your intention, reduces morning chaos.
Okay, that planning structure makes sense. Now,
Yeah.
what does the actual day in the life of a smart student look like according to the sources? All right, let's walk through it. Before class, do the assigned reading, even if you don't get all of it.
Why is that so important?
Again, it primes the brain. You've encountered the terms, the concepts, so when the professor explains it, your brain is already making connections. You're not hearing it cold. Leads to better engagement, more aha moments.
Okay, reading first, then during class.
Sit front and center, seriously. It helps you stay alert, minimizes distractions, plus the professor sees you, associates you with being engaged, especially when you ask questions.
Makes sense. And note-taking.
Crucial. Take active notes, not just passively transcribing. The Cornell method is highly recommended.
Cornell method. Remind me.
You divide your page, main note section, about 20/3, a smaller column on the left for cues, keywords, questions that pop into your head, connections to the reading, and a summary section at the bottom.
So it forces you to process, not just copy.
Exactly. It forces intellectual engagement. You're constantly asking, why? How does this connect? What's the main point here? You're not just a robot stenographer. This active processing massively boosts retention.
Active notes. Got it. What about after class?
2 key things. First, immediately, like right after class or during that board time, ask the professor or TA any questions you jotted down in your cues column. Strike while the iron's hot.
Okay. Immediate clarification.
Second, within a few hours, find a quiet spot And review and summarize your notes. Reread them, fill in any gaps, maybe rewrite them more neatly, and write that summary at the bottom of the Cornell page. This uses chunking, grouping related ideas together. It helps organize the information in your brain, makes it stick, and makes studying for exams later so much easier. As the author says, what is reviewed is remembered.
Okay, that daily rhythm makes sense. Now, the big one, exams. How do you prepare effectively? Not just cramming, right? This is the deep dive exam preparation. It's a strategy. Starts 2 days before the exam, minimal.
Case studies. Okay.
Block out a solid chunk of time, maybe 4-6 hours. And here's the key. Review everything. All the textbook readings, all your lecture notes, right from the beginning of the material covered. Don't just focus on the recent stuff.
Go back to the start.
Because concepts build on each other. You need the foundation. And focus on the why. Not just memorizing facts or formulas, but why they work, how they connect. Work through every sample problem again, and maybe take notes of notes. Condense your summaries even further.
Notes of notes. Okay. What about the day before?
The day before. Get any last-minute questions answered, office hours, TAs, then spend time actively doing. Rework problems from the textbook, lecture notes, old homework sets. If you can get old exams, even better. Time yourself on some problems.
Simulate the test conditions.
Exactly. Keep focusing on the whys behind the steps. Develop that problem-solving rhythm we talked about. Make it feel more intuitive.
Okay, lots of active practice. What about the study group?
Yes. After you've done your individual deep dive, review with your study group. Meet for maybe 2 hours. Test each other. Explain concepts to each other. This is where you find any remaining weak spots.
Teaching reinforces it again.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then, the step everyone wants to skip.
Let me guess. Sleep.
Get enough sleep. Schedule only 7 hours the night before. Seriously. Remember that memory consolidation. Creative problem solving. Your brain needs rest to perform optimally. Don't sabotage all that hard prep work by being exhausted.
Right. Show up rested and ready.
Show up rested. Give it your best shot. Okay, so we've covered attitude, connections, behavior. To wrap it all up, the author uses this really powerful metaphor. Embrace the hills.
Embrace the hills. Tell me more.
He talks about this bike route near where he lived. Beautiful scenery, great ride, except it started with this long, tough, uphill climb.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so he found himself instinctively avoiding it, taking easier, less interesting routes, just because he dreaded that initial hill.
I can relate to that. Avoiding the hard start.
Totally. Then he realized this fear, this avoidance of the hill, was actually limiting his experience. So he made a conscious decision. Embrace it. He started timing himself going up the hill, tracking his progress.
Ah, making it a challenge. Data-driven.
Exactly. And eventually that hill that seemed so daunting, it became just part of the ride, almost effortless.
That's a great metaphor for tackling challenges instead of avoiding them. And he connects it directly to other fears he had. Things he didn't consider his strengths, like public speaking and writing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he admits he used to get anxious, stumble over his words, but he applied that same growth mindset, that embrace the hills idea. He started volunteering for speaking opportunities, even though he knew he'd probably bomb the first few times.
He knew he'd stumble, but did it anyway.
He did, because he resolved to get better. And guess what? He did stumble, but he kept doing it and he got better. It just shows these principles aren't just for classes or exams. They apply to any area where you want to grow.
Any hill you want to climb in life.
Exactly. Continuous self-improvement.
It really does all come back to that simple, powerful motto, I'm not good at this yet.
Yet. That one word changes everything. Which brings us to the final question, really, for you listening. Are you ready to embrace your hills? Because while these shifts, we've talked about attitude, connections, behavior, they aren't magic wands. There's no guarantee of success. But they are absolutely proven strategies. Strategies to make you a better student, yes, but also a better professional, a more resilient person, whatever challenges life throws your way.
So thinking about everything we've dived into today, those shifts in attitude, connections, and behavior, what's one hill, maybe in your learning, your work, your life right now, that you're now inspired to approach differently, to embrace with that growth mindset, armed with a new strategy?